Hello everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. Okay, Barr, Mueller, Trump. Alright, so the latest news is that Barr will release the Mueller report. It's likely to be heavily redacted sometime on or before the middle of April, which coincides with the timelines that I brought forward a couple of days ago. Now, so we'll be hearing more about Trump and Russia. I want to go back to Barr's summary or press statement or press release, whatever you like to call it. He's now saying that it wasn't a summary, it wasn't meant to be a summary. So again, we go questions, questions, questions. What was it meant to be? If it wasn't meant to be a summary, why indeed bring it forward at all? Why indeed bring it forward at all? Okay, so I feel with the summary, what it did was get Trump off the hook. It allowed, I guess, some conjecture. It allowed recriminations to say that Trump, got off scot-free. Now, what that's going to do is, when the Mueller report actually does come out, which it could be quite damning, given that Mueller was unable to exonerate Trump from obstruction of justice, Barr's press statement or summary or whatever you like to call it has actually laid the ground then in favour of Trump for his base or supporters to say, no, there was no collusion and exoneration wasn't proven. So we don't care what the Mueller report actually says. So in other words, my impressions are Barr gave his Republican president a free kick. He laid the groundwork to soften the blow of the Mueller report. And so I'm going to ask two further questions before we kind of put this down for a little while and move on. So, just so, the energy around Barr has been quite up and down. We didn't know where his motivations were. I do feel that what happened to Barr is that he came forward with this game plan, if you like, to put the president in front of a fairly damning report, what is likely to be a damning report. And how do we know that? We know that because of what's in the public domain already. And we know that by simply listening to Adam Schiff's summary. So we know that the Mueller report is going to be likely to be, whether these things could be found beyond a reasonable doubt, that really doesn't matter. It's going to be potentially damning for Trump. Now, when Barr did that, this wasn't a summary. What was it? What he did, I think he was quite taken aback by the reaction that followed. I think he was quite shocked. Now, when I read on him in the Senate hearings, we established, I think, that he had this quite substantial, or my impressions were he had quite a substantial ego. I also want to say a word about Barr's energy. I found it, as you know, very difficult to read on. But I also feel that he is quite gifted in projecting a particular energy, which actually acts as a smoke screen. You're never quite sure, what is he in this story, a goodie or a baddie? Okay, so we know now that he's part of Trump's inner circle. We know that he released some kind of summary really before he even needed to. My impressions were Mueller was just nudged to finish just a bit earlier. Is this an interim report? Well, we're not likely to see any more reports from Mueller, no. But we do know that there are his ongoing investigations. So what we're likely to see in the future is potentially charges and indictments coming out of these other investigations. But back to Barr. Let's have a look via the tarot and see if what his reaction was to his summary statement, whatever that was. Was he surprised by the public angst in relation to that summary statement? Was William Barr surprised by the level of angst, by the thin ice that he was potentially walking? Did he anticipate his own actions being questioned. What do we need to know, Spirit? Okay, the Wheel of Fortune really turned for Barr. And he got into deep water. He got into what I would call karmic territory because he waded into karmic territory. This whole Mueller investigation, Donald Trump's appearance on the stage, the world stage, the damage that he has already done in so many ways, including to the US's reputation globally. And to the US allies. Barr waded into this kind of situation. This isn't the 1990s or the early 2000s. This isn't any of that. This is 2019, and just the sheer power of social media alone makes this a different situation for William Barr. So the Wheel of Fortune was turning for him. What was challenging him was the momentum that had already been built up. This is the Four of Wands. I'm using my Aquarian deck. The illustrator, the creator of this deck, David Palladini, passed away recently, and I did tell one of my viewers I'll try and use this deck a little bit more. Just because something is old doesn't mean that it is not as as powerful as some shiny new contemporary deck. This deck has stood the test of time. But back to the reading. What is this karmic situation that Barr's waded into? What is challenging him is where we are in all of the story, if you like. We're moving towards success. And we're moving towards success because really already we've achieved a lot collectively. Let's kick this up, as I like to say, a little bit higher. Our collective consciousness has already demanded justice. It's already demanded truth. There's been much bravery from so many people, really starting from the hundreds and thousands of women that marched just after Trump was elected. This is what Barr waded into. This is what went against him. I asked the question, why indeed did he release anything at all? Okay, why did he insert himself in the middle of that situation? As Pelosi has said, it wasn't his call to make. Okay, why? We ask ourselves why. The report was destined to go to Congress anyway. This emboldened Trump. It made him more unhinged. If anyone saw the Michigan rally, there is no doubt he is angry, vindictive, and God knows what he's capable of. The foundation of the situation for Barr is the potential. I'm just going to call it. Collusion. As Adam Schiff called it. He said that this is collusion in my books. We're not talking about a proven conspiracy beyond reasonable doubt. We're talking about many, many, many examples already in the public domain of either the Trump campaign or Trump White House, whatever, both actually, are connecting with Russia in a nefarious manner. That's the foundation of the reading, and that's why whatever Barr was going to summarise or release in the way that he did it was never going to work. Does he realise that now? Perhaps he does, because he understands that there is a crisis on his hands. The past situation here, we've got the Strength card. I'll see if I can bring the laptop down and you might be able to get a view of these cards. I'm working without a lot of space here, as you can see, because it's the weekend. I'm not at my normal table. Strength in the background here, the strength of the Mueller report. I have no doubt that what is in the Mueller report, given what has already been in the public domain, will be quite damning. The King of Pentacles is the potential, which is hanging over this entire reading. As you know, even in this deck, this is Donald Trump. This is my card for Donald Trump. So we see that that Barr was indeed trying to protect the. Well, he would see it as the president, the office of the president, but in actual fact, this is Donald Trump, the businessman. Donald Trump, the businessman. Barr know the difference? Okay, he was supporting Donald Trump, the businessman, when he released that statement, which is interesting because if we delve a little bit more deeply into that statement, Donald Trump, the businessman. He was supporting Donald Trump, the businessman. This is indeed the Republican Party's Achilles heel here. It is the money in politics. It is the donations from Russia. He was protecting, I don't see the emperor here. I see Donald Trump, the businessman. He was supporting that, which means that Mueller has a lot to say in his report regarding Donald Trump, the businessman, in some way. So we look at his connections. We look at the Moscow project, Trump Tower project. We look at the meeting in Trump Tower, etc., etc. And all those handoff investigations here where we have serious doubts about how money came in and where it went. Okay, let's just put it like that. So the situation at the moment, the Queen of Wands here. Okay, so this is around stability. It's also around the inspired action here. Queens come forward, introducing a sense of security and stability into an unstable situation. Wands are the suit of passion, of drive, of will. This is the situation at the moment, and it's why Barr now has been forced to come forward and release the Mueller report, however redacted. It's suggesting that Barr was actually quite surprised and disappointed by, this is the environment around him, by the reaction to his, we call it a statement, I don't know what else to call it, but it's also suggesting that the redactions that he might make might disappoint some people. I'll ask a supplementary follow-up question here. Hopes and fears, the Nine of Wands. Okay, hopes and fears. This is an interesting card to come forward in this position because the Nine of Wands is around keeping barriers up. We see here. So I feel that this is around again the kind of redactions that might be made in that report and how they might be justified. However, if too much is attempted to hide information, the same thing is going to happen again as what occurred with his statement, his out of the blue summary statement. The outcome here, he's actually got quite very heavy forces weighing on him. And this card suggests he's at a crossroad right now. Now, there's been conjecture that he doesn't want to ruin his reputation by protecting Donald Trump, the businessman. I feel this is where he's at now. It's suggesting there's going to be a compromise. So this reading is showing that Barr, all these things are going through Barr's mind. The shock around the strength of the public reaction to his 4-page statement. The surprise at which that came, we all knew Mueller was sort of he was writing his report, obviously. Prosecutors were leaving, they were in the drafting stage. But bang, Barr comes on and all of a sudden we had the grand jury extended until September. We've had the judge oversighting that jury come forward and letting media in and saying these investigations are still ongoing. What was the effect of my readings or my impressions to date have been that Mueller was just nudged a little bit too soon. And the other thing, I guess if that's the case, the other thing is that he's been disappointed in this 4-page statement summary. So in Barr saying it wasn't a summary of the report, then we've actually got him almost walking that back now. Okay, so the strength of the action here, he's inserted himself right in the middle of a karmic situation. He's brought the goods for previous presidents. He's done his job as a Republican Attorney General. He probably thought he could do the same thing again, but this is a different time. This is a different situation, and there's a karmic. This is a different person. This is Donald Trump, the businessman. Okay, so I'm going to give these a good shuffle, and I'm going to ask what the reaction is going to be to the Mueller report, the redacted Mueller report. What's the reaction? Let me just center myself here. What's going to be the congressional and public reaction to the Mueller report that we eventually see at the middle of April or sooner? I think it'll become clear when we see that why he brought forward this statement when he did. I'm getting it then allowed the two sides to come forward. It allowed the division. So we have to I guess we have to acknowledge with Republicans that the way that they operate can be quite. The way that the division is there, the win-lose, etc., etc. We saw what happened with Kavanaugh. It was like pushing through what we thought would, under normal circumstances, that would have been possibly even taken back. That nomination would have been suspended in some way. That would have been the logical way it was dealt with. Instead, we had the FBI doing some kind of hasty, what was that, summary report, and of course that nomination moving through. So the 4-page statement, will Trump's base accept Mueller's report? Probably not. It's going to, that's talking about the base though. If you look at what occurred in Michigan, you've got a fair idea of who and what that is, and why that is. But let's have a look. What's going to be the public or the congressional reaction to the Mueller report? Obviously going to be redacted in parts. What's going to be the reaction? I'm getting that there will be enough there to really to join the dots. We've got the world card here. We've got the endings and the beginnings. It's suggesting that report, even though I feel that Trump's the beginning of the end has been really, I would put it, from the midterms onwards. I do feel that in some way this is going to hasten the inevitable ending of his presidency one way or another. Okay, balance. All right, so we're going to get balance into the situation now. So if you think about what's occurred, we've had complete exoneration, etc., etc. There's going to be balance. Mueller's report is going to really bring that balance into the situation. And I'm getting quite strongly that even reasonable Republicans will take heed of this report. The foundation of the reading is the Four of Pentacles. Someone is going to come off worse for wear. This is the card of insecurity here. It can also come forward when you've got that win-lose battle and someone is on the losing end of things and they start to feel quite insecure about things. Is that going to be the Democrats or the Republicans? Well, we know enough now to understand that Mueller's body of work is very, very substantial. But we haven't finished the reading yet because we've got quite heavy redactions. Here we have in the past is Robert Mueller himself in the King of Swords. Don't you love it the way he appears in all of these readings? Someone said to me, Mueller's no hero, etc., etc., etc. However, we've seen from the last 18 months, however long Mueller's been at this, we've seen some really painstaking, and I would say in hindsight probably groundbreaking work in the way that he really, if you think about it, and many times over many readings, he started in the outer circle and then he moved to an inner circle. Now, where was he going when he was when he was really nudged, I think, to bring his report forward. Obviously, he'd been working on it for some time, but what else was coming? And also the sealed indictments. Where are they? Where are they at? So he's coming into the past position here. I do get this is a question of timing as well. All right, we've got really retreat here. Can also be ill health. This is somebody in retreat, someone laying low. What's going to be the public reactions? Could be the Republicans in retreat. Yeah, the Wheel of Fortune here, this karmic movement that really hamstrung Bar. That's in the immediate future here, and it's linking with the Four of Swords. So my impressions is that who is going to be in the retreat? It's going to be Trump. We kind of know that we should really start to, I don't know, I was talking to one of my viewers about this. I think I spoke to you viewers about it, that there was quite a lot of, I guess, movement forward this week, even under adverse circumstances, by about the middle of the week, and I refer to this in my last reading. The fog had started to lift and we understood what was going on. We weren't hit out of the blue by that 4-page statement summary, whatever it was and why ever it was brought forward. We had recovered from that, and we had started to really join the dots about what was actually happening. We were blindsided and we actually picked ourselves up. And that's where we're at the moment, because of the work that Mueller has already done. We already know. And that's why I gave you that link to Adam Schiff's not Schaefer, Schiff's. This is just my Australian accent here. We already heard Adam's summation, and that's already all out there in the public domain. All right, the situation at the moment here, it's all around Russia. It's all around what was done with Russia. The hopes and the fears. This came up as Bill Barr's final outcome card. This is the hopes and the fears that there will be that report will come forward with enough material in it that it won't be so heavily redacted that it becomes again another situation like we encountered this week. Interesting outcome card. The Lovers here. Let's just get some clarification on that. My feeling is there's going to be quite a lot of redactions here. This is around the boundaries here that could, the boundaries that could have been put up to, again, protect Trump. But here, there's still going to be enough information coming forward for illumination to occur. So this is my major arcana here. This is the final card I would pull in this reading. There's going to be illumination on a number of fronts, is what that card is telling me. There's going to be illumination about Trump's relationships with others. There's going to be illumination about what potentially was hidden. Someone's going to be in retreat. Because this card comes up so often with the Democrats now, I'm going to say my impression is that it will be Trump in retreat, and that expects some heavy redactions, but there's going to be enough there for people to be illuminated. And what's hidden from our view is the Page of Swords, and this card is around prizing open the truth. So the truth isn't just suddenly there glaring for you to pick up like a gift and then go away and go, see, I know. It's actually going to come out as we go along. And this would fit the process that I see. There, as I said, this isn't going to be a walk in the park. enough is going to be in that Mueller report to provide real leverage. And of course, as we go along, we then have more and more and more and more come out. Now, people are concerned, I'm just going about whether Trump will, go to the election in 2020. Will he win? What if we get another 4 terms there? I would hope that we don't. Because I, for one, won't be reading about him, beyond this crisis period. I'm hoping that I'll be able to read on, on an expanse of subjects and themes, which is what I tend to do a little bit on Patreon. But I do know that there is a need here to calm people down here. Will Trump stand in 2020? Will Trump stand in 2020? Will he? Yeah, look, I'm just getting a real strong no. It's coming in from here, and it's just like no. Okay, will Trump stand in 2020 as the Republican candidate, or in 2020? Will Trump stand for the presidency in 2020? I just heard no, be long gone. Will Trump stand in 2020? Okay, so there's going to be some kind of proposal put to Donald Trump, which is what I've always intuited, that he'll be given something to. Hopefully you can see that card. He'll be given an offer to move on. What's going to be challenging him is his wealth or dwindling wealth. This is the family card. This can be also around his children. In normal packs, this is a normal pack. In other packs, we have mum, dad and the kids depicted in this card. And I feel that he's going to be moving on and take that proposal for a number of reasons, including his business and his family. Okay, the Two of Rods are really the foundation of the readings. We've got to wait for the results here. We've got to go through the next period of time while we wait for Mueller's report and other investigations to do their work. In the past, we've got this situation here, came up in the last couple of readings. This is around heavy forces weighing on him, and also the need to make decisions and make a compromise. Hanging over this here, we've got juggling. He is juggling at the moment, but this is also manipulation. What would it take for Donald Trump to take a proposal and step down? We've got a way to go, okay? So if you look at the linear progression of this whole matter, this whole upending, this whole upside-down world that we've been in, that we've all been living through in the last few years, we're still only around here. We've still got a ways to go. So that, I feel, though, is going to be faster. This part of the process is going to be quicker. The Knight of Cups here, we've got the some kind of again proposal coming forward that will appeal to Trump emotionally. Okay. The situation at the moment, the Empress. This is around again. The tide has turned. There's an abundance of evidence in Mueller's report. The Democrats have taken the House. There's more of a balance of power. Things have changed. Any further damning evidence from Trump could be quite serious for him. And really the environment around is people are wanting new beginnings. Okay, so every time he jumps up and becomes more unhinged and throws out insults, which I'm not even going to repeat, particularly around Adam Schiff and others, wanting to reopen Hillary Clinton's, etc., email investigation, you name it. People are tired. They see him as a fool. They want new beginnings. All of these things are going to impact on this eventual proposal that's put to him. The Queen of Wands here in the hopes and fears. Again, people are already knowing around where things stand with him. I do feel that the 4-page statement summary that was designed as a supposedly strategy to protect Donald Trump didn't work, and so that's almost like what will happen as we go forward. These things, the power is diminished because of everything that's happened. And we've got the 7 of Pentacles as the outcome card. This is again around hard work, leaving a body of work. Let's have a look. Will he stand in 2020? 5 of Swords here. We've got this bullying card here. This is also around authority being misused. And the 7 of Swords, the theft and trying to get away with something. Okay, and the illusion and delusion. All these cards are suggesting, really are, I guess, describing Donald Trump and the Republicans. So where I can't get a major arcana unless I get one on the bottom of the pack. Well, restriction. It's not a major arcana. It can be restriction and really being bound and gagged. So I'm gonna pull separately, and just it's suggesting that all these things that Trump has been involved in, all the history that we don't need to go back over, is going to be working against him. Mueller's report is going to be working against him by 2020, and that there's going to be some kind of proposal put to him. But I'm just going to clarify that because I didn't get a major arcana there in the outcome. Okay. Will Donald Trump take a proposal to step down this year in 2019? Or could be, early to 2020, before 2020 elections. Will he take that proposal? Will he take that proposal? Yes, no, Spirit, will he take that proposal? Okay, certainly feeling insecure. We've got the power of, I think, the Congress, but also our inner knowing. We've got the 5 of Swords, the abuse of power that we've witnessed. We've got the 8 of Swords coming forward. Again, he's going to be restricted. We've got the 5 of Pentacles. This again is loss and being excluded, left out in the cold, underneath what I would call my card for Congress and the law and those judges and those investigators. And we've got the Knight of Rods, which is, really someone taking expired action. Haven't seen a major arcana yet. So let's keep pulling. Protection of his business, the Trump, and it can also be the Trump organization is what's going to really restrict him. Here we go, the High Priestess. This is around secrets to be revealed. Potentially can be not, in across multiple forums, including Mueller, Congress, investigations, etc. We've got the 6 of Cups here, wanting to return to, I guess, safer times. Okay. At this point in time, there's an indication that he may take a proposal to step down. But I'm not seeing really, really strong cards at this point in time, which is suggesting to me that that there are indications that he is likely to take a proposal. However, we all have free will in all of this, and the way that things might pan out over the next couple of months are going to be very, very critical. I feel that it's the critical nature of this will start with the release of the Mueller report, which will be quite heavily redacted. However, there's going to be enough in there for illumination. And I feel that that's going to set off a chain of events and a process as we move forward in the year. Now, I did see that Four of Swords there, which can indicate ill health. So we know Trump in Michigan was absolutely, ooh. So I'm feeling with this proposal, I'm not quite getting the full picture. Is Trump's health going to influence this proposal coming forward? Is Trump's health going to influence any decisions for this proposal to come forward and for Trump to step down? Is Trump's health going to be a factor in all of this? Yes, no, Spirit. Is Trump's health going to be a factor in all of this? Feeling I'm getting closer to the money, but I'm actually feeling that it's his children. It is the Nine of Pentacles. I do feel that he's going to be worried about Ivanka. And that card comes forward a lot here in relation to this. The Magician here, actualizing something into reality. I feel that one of these investigations is going to involve her quite a lot. Justice, here we go, yeah. I think he's going to be protecting her. It's interesting because I did read a news report to do with Cohen and the conversations or discussions that were had to try and protect Ivanka. We had Rudy Giuliani coming out right at the beginning saying, hands off Ivanka. She's showing up here again as a factor in what might influence him to step down. Yep. We've got the Eight of Swords here, which is not imprisonment, but restriction. We've got new beginnings being actualised here, which is we're talking about him accepting a proposal. And we've got potentially him making a compromise under the Justice card. What's hidden from our view is actually a body of work here, the significant body of work that is actually going on, both from Mueller. Who started all of this? Those handoff investigations came from him. So I feel that it is Ivanka that is going to, according to my impressions, this is just a tarot reading, and so it should be viewed that way. I do feel that it's going to be something around Ivanka that will influence him to take a proposal to go. However, those cards there, we're not quite there yet. So let me just put it that way. So, okay, we're going to wait now till the mid-April, and then I'm going to now have a look at some of the Democratic candidates, and also the overarching questions around how are the Democrats performing in the Congress. They've got a number of investigations on the boil. So we'll start having a look at them more closely, and I want to zip over to the UK and take a look at Theresa May, Article 50, the will of the people, what's happening with Brexit. I'll also look to my own country, Australia. We've got an election coming up, and Canada as well. So and other countries. We've got. We've got the EU to take a look at. We've got Russia to take a look at. We've got South America to have a look at as well. So in the next week or so, week or two, before around mid-April when Mueller's report comes through, let's cast our gaze further afield. So that's my take on where things are at the moment in relation to Mueller's report, which of course is the main game, or has been the main game since 2017. It's taken us a long way. I think it's already protected us already with everything that's come out. Imagine if, as Trump said, William Barr had been his attorney, there would have been no Mueller report. we wouldn't have known any of that if you think about Adam Schiff's summary or speech in Congress. We would not have known any of that. That all would have occurred. We wouldn't have known about it. All right, I'm going to leave it there, viewers. Thank you so much for all your support, for your lovely, wonderful, kind comments. And I just, want to express gratitude for any information that's allowed to come through me, and these cards from Spirit. I'm grateful for whatever that is and however that's being done. And I stay grounded with all of that. But I do so appreciate your support. Thank you.